Alright guys, Desktopsgaming here, welcome back to the channel. We figured we'd do a build today. I don't know if you guys know, but we recently got impacted by Hurricane Sandy and kind of killed us with power and internet for a little bit there. Luckily we only lost power for a few days, but we didn't get devastated too hard, but it caused us to kind of miss some of the antics of the 3080 launch. And like I said, I don't know if you guys got any cards in. Let me know down in the comments below if you were able to get one. What was your experience with that? But for today, I figured we would do a build. This one thanks to Deepcool. We're actually going to be taking a look at their CL500. And we have a few parts here sent over by Deepcool to check out. The way this is going to work, we'll just kind of dive into each part kind of as we go along. Like I said, I feel like it's been so long since I've built a PC. I figured we would just do that today because, I don't know, it feels like it's been too long. So let's dive into this. So today we're going to be using the B550 Aorus Pro. We actually already have our CPU installed here. We're using the 3600X. Just solid CPU. You guys know about that. Like I said, we already have actually two M.2 SSDs installed. We're using the one from Silicon Power here. This one's actually a terabyte, and then we have another one from Patriot Viper, another 500 gig here. So plenty of storage here. Like I said, on this B550 Aorus Pro, some really beefy looking heat sinks here. Like I said, we've actually played around a little bit of this board. I'll actually throw up in the tag at the top here our kind of overview of this board if you want to check more of that out. But really solid VRM design here. As you can see, it's kind of got that extended heatsink here over the VRM chokes. Like I said, so plenty of power here to, like I said, deal with any of your overclocking you want to do on this board. Like I said, can't get too much out of this 3600X, but we're going to play around with it once we get everything set up. Because like I said, today we're actually going to be cooling that with another part from Deepcool. Again, thanks Deepcool for sending this over. But it's their Castle 360EX. I'm sure you guys have seen this one. Wait a second, what do we have this one? That's better. Like I said, actually sent over their 360EX RGB edition with their new MF120GT fans. So we're going to be using that one today. We actually do have enough room in this case. I think we're going to end up doing push-pull. So we're going to play around with that. Like I said, for our power supply, we just have our normal M1 Classic here. It really overkill for this build, but we're going to throw that in here today. Hopefully we have enough room to fit it in the back of that case. We'll take a look at that once we go into it. Like I said, for RAM, we'll be using the Trident Z RGB. Because like I said, as you can kind of see by the case color here, kind of has that black and silver look. We have black and silver accents on the motherboard itself. And then we're actually going to be throwing in something a little crazier today. Let's see if we actually take a look at this here. I actually sent over from EzDiyFab. It's some of their, yay, one-handed use. It's some of their new RGB strips. So these are actually bendable, as you can see. RGB strips, not in the typical sense, so they have kind of this neon look to them. Like I said, we're going to play around with these, see if we can work these into the build somewhere today. So let's see. Put that back in there. Where'd that come off of? Put that back in there. Set that to the side. All that with our Gamer's Nexus toolkit today. We'll have to be using this today to get our build going. Need a couple things out of that. So we'll actually take a look at this cooler here. Again, thank you Deepcool for sending this one over. Like I said, we've worked with the 360EX a good bit in the past. Got one-handed use. Need a camera person. We've actually worked with the 360X in the past. This is just their new RGB edition. The original didn't have the RGB fans on it, but they actually included, like I said, now the MF120GT fans, which we have more of here that we're going to be populating in the case. We're planning on doing a push-pull. So we'll probably have three in the front off this rad, 3 behind it, and then we'll probably do 3 at the top, but we'll dive into that more when we get to it. Let's go ahead and take this guy. I'll take a look at it. Like I said, here's the MF120GT fans ready to go here. Like I said, already lined out. Let's see, we have the 360 rad. Let's see, looks like we're actually going to change the mounting gear here because this has the stock mounting brackets on it still, so we're going to take those off. And slide this out so you guys can see. Again, one-handed use. Alright, so like I said, this is the Castle 360EX RGB, and something kind of unique to Deepcool. Actually, one of the first I've seen them do it. They said anti-leak technology inside. So what's cool with this is it actually has this little bleeder here. So it's actually a little bag. kind of a little, I guess it's a plastic or some kind of rubber bag in here. So actually as the loop kind of heats up, you actually end up bleeding out through here instead of building up any air back pressure to form a leak anywhere else. So really cool to see that in there. Like I said, I think we're gonna definitely plenty of horsepower here to be cooling that 3600X. Like I think it might be a little overkill, but with the mesh airflow design case, we figured we would go all out with the fans. And then for card today, since we couldn't get our hands on a 3080, we'll just be going with our normal 2070 Super here, the Aorus card, one you guys seen us use a couple times. Like I said, we will be taking a look at the 3080 as soon as we can get our hands on one. Like I said, again, you guys let me know down in the comments below. You know, like I said, if you were able to get one, where you're able to pick it up from. You know, we read enough of the articles after, you know, we kind of started getting power back after the storm recovery and everything. Read a bunch of the articles about bots and, you know, what they're trying to do to mitigate that. So hopefully they can pull that off. We'll see how that works in real practice. You know, it sucks when you have bots and scalpers getting into this industry, but hey, you know, that's what we're gonna have to deal with. So hopefully they can produce enough cards to keep up and, like I said, implement something to help fight that bot status. So let's see, let's take a look at the main star of the show today. We'll move all this out of the way. It's the CL500 case from Deepcool. Like I said, this guy's, we've taken a look at a couple DeepCool cases in the past. We've worked with their Mach-Cube, which this does look kind of similar. It's like a bigger version of it. The doors remind me a lot of the Mach-Cube 310, and I'll show you why in just a second. But like I said, we've worked with DeepCool cases in the past. So like I said, we just wanted to definitely check this one out today. Definitely a little different than what they normally do. This case is a little bigger here, but we were really interested in this mesh airflow design. Look at that. So solid airflow intake through the front there. You can actually see there's no dust filter there. It's just kind of all part of the case. So if we can pop this off here without, again, doing this all one-handed, I might actually have to set you guys down. Let's see. And we'll take this off. Okay, that's good. All right, so yeah, as you can see, there's no added dust filter behind it here. The mesh is actually acting as, I guess you would call that a dust filter. Like I said, so the inside of your case with this one might get a little more dusty. This should trap some, but as you can see, you can pretty much see straight through to the background there. So you might have to end up dusting this case out more often, but the trade-off on that is some really solid airflow performance. So we're definitely going to be having some fun here setting up these in push-pull configuration, because I definitely think we'll have plenty of airflow here to back that up. So moving that to the side real quick, we'll move the case around. What's neat with this one, and what we liked about this one and the Mach-Cube, is they're actually toolless entry on both sides. So you see this little bar here with the kind of embossed with that DeepCool logo. It's actually a little bar to open the case. So no thumb screws or anything to deal with, completely toolless. It's just magnets and little clips here to hold that in place, so we can flip that like so. So we'll go ahead and take, strong magnets too. We're going to lift that off here. We'll set that to the side. And then on the back, it's actually toolless as well. Something we really liked about that Mach-Cube. But it has a little open tab here, so just pop that down. And it pops right out like so. So really neat feature there. So on the back side of the case here, looks like we do have plenty of kind of tied on points. If we look around here, looks like there's actually an included fan hub as well. If we can get the camera to focus here. Come on. Yeah, well, oop. Actually, there's a fan hub there. Like I said, the camera is not wanting to cooperate with me today. But it looks like we've moved down here. We have our hard drive cage, little caddy there. And then looks like we have all of our front panel connectors here. And let's see, looks like we get some extra parts in the case here. Let's see what we got. Looks like our usual zip ties. And let's see, looks like some power supply screws, some case fan screws, a little, typical stuff you receive in a case. So we're gonna kind of shove these back in there where we can flip the case around. We'll take a look at the inside here. So if we go down in the case here, looks like motherboard standoffs already pre-installed here, which is nice to see. Even at a case at this budget range, like I said, this case only runs around $68 to $70. Like I said, I've seen it kind of fluctuate back and forth. So definitely for the price of the case, not too bad at all. So if we get a little closer on the inside here, you can see another thing we really liked about the Mach-Cube that they carried over to this one is the VGA mounting bracket. So this thing's pretty neat. It's actually a little sag bracket. There's a little thumb screw here. You can adjust it on the back to lift it to the height of your card, but it'll keep your card from sagging. You can just flip that over, and it'll help support your card if you are experiencing some sag. If we move into the case here, where you guys can see, you can tell there are 3 grommet points here on the side. There's actually no grommets at the top or the bottom here, so for your USB and front panel connectors, and it's even got a little cutout here for your VGA cables to your graphics card, which is nice. But at the top, there's no grommets here, which isn't that big of a deal. Like I said, it'll be stacked toward the top of the case, so not too bad to worry about there. And the grommets they do include are kind of in the 3 main spaces that you can visually see at all times. So for your 24-pin pass-through and all that stuff, if you need access to SATA from the bottom grommet here, since that's where it is on most motherboards these days. So I'm glad they put grommets there. If we move around here to the top of the case, looks like we have what looks like a big power button, but this actually isn't the power button. It's a release latch here for the top. So if we can lift this up here. Ooh, one-handed operation's fine. Get it together. There we go. Then you can see here, I have similar kind of mesh filtration to the front of the case there. Definitely plenty of airflow coming through that. Then you have room up top here. Looks like for 2 120s, or maybe even a 240 radiator up top. Like I said, I think we're going to stick with the 360 up front because we want to do some push-pull. So we'll end up getting with a cutout that's in this case, front panel here, so we should be able to fit some fans toward the back side there, and then actually mount some on the inside of the case as well. So we'll have push-pull going on. But yeah, that's what this little thing does. And it just clips into place here. So we'll go and slap that back on. So that's just what that button does. And then moving along the top here, you have your actual power button there. We have 2 USB Type 3s, mic headphone combo jack here, but again, just use the one on the motherboard. These typically aren't good on any case, so yeah, just stick with the one on your motherboard. Looks like we have a reset button here, and then we have our 3.1 Type C. Would have been nice to see 3.2, but hey, I'll take USB-C on the front. That's definitely helpful. And then moving around here to the, let's see, bottom, looks like we just have a regular little, mesh pull out here for the power supply cover at the bottom. And it does look like, if we flip it over, again, moving around to the back, looks like you can kind of, well, no, that's riveted in place. So no way to move that hard drive cage at the bottom, which, at a case at this price range, wasn't expecting anything too crazy. Main thing that might be an issue here is fitting that larger power supply we have back here, so we'll have to take a look at that when we get into it. All right, so let's go ahead and get this guy going because I got to slap a cooler on, so we'll get this out of the way. All right, so as I said before, we're going to have to take these original stock mounting brackets off, so I had to put you guys down for a second because this is definitely going to be a 2-hand job. So I'm not going to try to drop anything on the IHS there. So we're going to get some of our screwdrivers ready to go. So I'll go ahead and take these off here. Like I said, because this one actually uses its own mounting system on the stock back plate, but we don't need these retention brackets here for the stock AMD fans that are included. So I'm going to pop these off. All right, now that those are out of the way, we'll have to get back in that cooler box because we'll need the mounting gear that's in there. I'm going to pull that out. Like I said, it all comes packed in a nice little box here. First thing out of the box here is their add ARGB functions here. So these are actually really nice SATA powered controllers here. So if you don't want to use motherboard software, which can be a real pain, even the RGB Fusion on this Gigabyte board can be a pain at times. So when you don't want to use all that included software, definitely good to have a controller like this. We'll probably end up going with this and just mounting the hubs and controllers on the back of the board there. Because like I said, I think like most people, they don't change that often. They kind of stick with one color pattern and just kind of go with that, kind of set it and then leave it alone. So we'll go with that there. So we'll set that aside. And then we'll need, the way this one's set up is, like I said, they do have the Intel backing plate included there. And then, like I said, we do have some different mounting hardware kind of included in the bag as well. So let's go ahead and pop that on real quick and we'll jump right back into installing the cooler on. All right, so just had to take a sec to get all of that out of the box. Let's go ahead and install this mounting bracket on here. Now that we have all these installed, I had to dig through and grab a little bit more hardware. Looks like so we'll have to set up the plates to be put on the edge of the cooler here. And so then we have the mounting hardware to put them down onto it. Focus. you can do it. There we go. All right, yeah, and we have the mounting hardware to actually put it on here. And then we had to grab the little tiny screws here that actually hold the brackets onto the cooler. So let's go and get those put on. We'll slide this out of the way real quick. We actually did do a test fit of this, so we're actually going to be cleaning off this paste and reapplying her on here. But typically you do have some pre-installed paste here with a little cover over it. But we have test fitted this cooler once already in a different build, so we're going to be cleaning that off and putting probably some MX2 or 4 from Arctic AC. So like I said, we'll go ahead and get something to clean that off real quick. Alright, trusty paper towel. Go and wipe this off, and we'll take some alcohol to it as well. Well, they actually went with the new pump design on this one as well. Supposed to keep it running cooler and even quieter here. And as you can see, it's a pretty wide pump as well. So we'll definitely be seeing how that fits inside the case. So go ahead and get a little bit of alcohol in this where we can make sure that's super clean before we start putting more paste on it again later. Looks good to me, nice and shiny. One thing I do like about DeepCool coolers is their cables they use. It's actually really nice nylon, so no really kinking or bending here to worry about. So even if you really try to kind of push one of these over, it's actually really hard to kink still. So definitely not going to be an issue there, even though you wouldn't really bend these that much. And like I said, we're going in for a push-pull configuration inside of this case, so should be really nice. Radiators are pretty slim, so pretty easy to work with, but fin density still really high. So definitely good cooling there. Let's slap on the mounting plate now. Now that that's complete, so we can start moving on to that. So we'll get this hardware over here out of the way. Pull out some of the screws for the fan mounts as well. Like I said, we're planning on doing, like I said, push-pull toward the front here. We're probably going to mount the extra MF120GTs we have here, so we'll have 3 included with the kit. We'll do on the front, we'll do 3 behind the radiator as well, and then we're going to do, we're going to replace the original stock fan. This one comes with in the back with one of the MF120GTs, and then we're going to do 2 more up here at the top as exhaust, so we'll have really nice airflow coming through this case, which also means plenty of wiring to deal with. So we're going to go and jump into that. One thing we did forget to do earlier was put our RAM kit in, so let's go and do that first. The OG Trident Z kit from G.Skill, which thought would look really cool in this build since we're kind of leaning more towards that silver and black, little gray tinge there, and we thought these would be the best looking for it. So let's go and pop these in. Alright, so we have the cooler over here ready to go. Just need to grab some thermal paste real quick and then we can start putting it on there. Back with some thermal paste. Like I said, we got the MX2 here from Arctic AC. Really good compound. Like I said, what I use in most of my personal builds here. Let's go and pop some of this on here. Big old glob in the middle. That should do us. And we'll go ahead and get this locked into place. Grab the hardware over here. And like I said, just before we mount the cooler on, DeepCool does have, their Castle does have this removable top here. That comes with their nameplate here on it, but they actually do include an extra one in the kit. So if you do want to customize this little plate, they are completely removable. So you can pop your on in there or rotate it to your liking. Just go ahead and stick that on like so. Like I said, we're going to be going for, let's see, this vertical orientation, so we might have to adjust that once we get into it, but we'll go ahead and mount it on. Now that those are started, we can start actually installing on the case. All right, now that we got the case prepped, we're going to go and remove that back fan there, and then we're actually going to start installing into the case. So like I said, standoffs are pre-installed here, so that's good. We'll go ahead and get out some motherboard screws here that are included with the baggie in the case. Install. We'll be going tube up on this one. We did see the Gamers X's video Like I said, it might contribute to a little bit more pump line, but that's fine. Like I said, we are going to do push-pull in this configuration. And there's not really enough room to bring the tubes up from the bottom since we're front mounting on this. So yes, we are fans, so we did see the video. Just go ahead and put that out there before we get all the comments of like, you put the radiator upside, or the AO upside down, what are you doing? You blow. So we'll go ahead and get the fans ready for this and where we can get these installed. All right, so now that we have the motherboard installed, let's go ahead and get some fans on here. Like I said, we are going to be doing a push-pull configuration, so we're going to be putting 3 on the back here, and then we're actually going to do 3 on the front as well. We're actually be mounting those from the other side of the case, so let's go ahead and get these installed. All right, so now that we have those installed, we got a push-pull configuration going here, and so motherboard and AIO are both installed and ready to go. Like I said, we'll start working on some cable management next. So actually, we'll drop out for you guys and do that. We'll finish installing. Don't want to bore you guys, so we'll finish installing the rear fan here in the back. So we have the one we took out the stock when we're going to put one of the other MF120GTs in there, and then we're going to do 2 up top as exhaust as well. So let me work on that, and I'll be right back with you guys. All right, so we did a little bit of work here in cable management, best we could with as many fans as we end up including in this. So we have one hub sitting. We got one hub sitting right here. Like I said, we have a RGB hub sitting here, another fan hub here. We actually did use the one included with the case here as well. Tied that into a different system fan header, and then we have the 2 RGB ones sitting here. So I mean, this one's kind of got to hang because the pump is actually plugged into that one as well. So if we actually flip this around here, you kind of give an idea. Actually, no, you know what? I'm going to wait. So you can get the reveal once we finish up everything here. One thing we do have to change here, the power supply. We wanted to go with our normal M1 Classic here. This guy's a little too big. So we're actually going to be swapping him out. I'm going to pick up one right now because I actually don't have a smaller power supply on hand that'll work with this case. I have that Seasonic Connect, but it actually won't work with the way this back panel is set up. So we're going to do that. And you like my ingenuity of just kind of zip tying the controllers together here in the back? I think it'll work, because like I said, I mean, once I kind of dial in an RGB effect, I pretty much leave it alone. I don't really manage it much after that. But we have them wired together here, kind of tied together best we could. Zip tied those guys down to keep them all in one run. Like I said, we kind of did the same thing on the sides here. So I'm actually going to run and pick up another power supply real quick, like one that'll fit. Because like I said, that hard drive cage down bottom actually won't come out. It's you can adjust it back and forth, but the power supply I have is still too long, and I don't really want to rip the power supply, or excuse me, the hard drive cage out of the way because it is riveted in place. And like I said, there's no other way to get it out unless you could flip it around, drill those rivets out, and actually squish the hard drive cage to take it out. Definitely, I'd say a con. I wish most cases had removable hard drive trays just for the instance you do need to put in a longer power supply. But, I mean, for the price of this case, it's a minor critique. But, okay, like I said, we're going to go run and pick up a power supply real quick. Hopefully they have one left in stock we can pick up today, and we'll finish this up. All right, guys, we're back. It's been a couple days. We're actually waiting on a shipment of a new power supply. We thought it was going to be here sooner, but it didn't actually end up showing up until today. So the one we had installed previously, to kind of go ahead and get some setup started and start playing around with a little more, was actually our Seasonic Connect power supply, which I don't know if you guys have seen that one before. It actually doesn't have your typical power supply, or typical power supply mounting. I'll take the back off here and I'll show you kind of what we did for now. So we'll set this down to the side here. So this is the Seasonic Connect. See, it's kind of a mess in there right now because it's not really wired correctly. They're the way it's supposed to be anyway. But how the Connect's a little different. And it actually does work really well, but we do want to use these sleeve cable extensions, so that's why we end up going with a different power supply. We need a smaller one anyway. But like I said, this is the Seasonic Connect, so you still have a brick here that still installs in the basement here. And it's still actually an 850 watt power supply, so it does work really well. But instead of having all of your cables come off of here, they actually run up to the little Connect sleeving here. So this brick's actually what does all your conversion over, and the whole idea behind it is to clean up cabling. Like I said, if you're not going to be running any kind of sleeve extensions or anything, because they actually designed their own to run with this. They're actually shorter cables than usual. As you can see here, you can kind of see the length of the 8-pin EPS for the CPU. Like I said, with this one, it's designed in mind to kind of stick via magnets to the back here. So it has little magnets on the back side of this little power inverter here. And then you actually would put that to the back of your case. And then, like I said, you would run 24-pin from here straight around to the motherboard side. You run 8-pin EPS up at the top, and then it has PCIe and SATA down here. So it works really well. But since we want to run these sleeve cable extensions, not really going to work in this setup because it requires plugging into here. And you can see there's not a whole lot of length in between the 24-pin socket and where the 24-pin on the motherboard would be. I mean, that's great for these short cables because they're designed in mind to eliminate the cable mess. But when you want to run cable extensions, it's not really the best bet for that. So what we did instead is we actually got another Seasonic power supply ordered because Seasonic is one of our sponsors. So thanks again to Seasonic. But like I said, this is one of their just 80 plus gold, the GX 750 watt unit here. Typical ATX power supply. Like I said, we needed something a little smaller. We actually had a 650, I believe, before this, and we ended up actually selling it because a friend of ours really needed one. But we need another smaller power supply to replace in some of these smaller cases we have. So something to supplant instead of using the N11250 that we use, because like I said, it won't fit in this case with the way the hard drive cage is set up at the bottom. So we're going to swap this out real quick, and then like I said, we'll finish on with the build. You guys can see the final product when it's done. And there she is, ladies and gentlemen. She is complete. We got a few more things to do though. Overall, build went along really well. Like I said, it was a really solid case to build in. First, we got to take care of one thing though. The most important part of any build. Let's see, we'll take this one out. And now it's complete. So like I said, the B-roll you just saw was actually before all this. I want to touch back on, just some highlights about the case. Like I said, we just started kind of testing everything out. Like I said, been really solid to build in. Airflow is absolutely amazing on here. Surprisingly, not as loud as I thought it was going to be with this, kind of push-pull combo going on. We'll take the front panel off here to limit some reflections where you guys can see in there. But like I said, yeah, unless they're getting close to 80 to 100%, like I said, the fans don't even get too loud, but these MF120GTs are pretty quiet. But like I said, still move plenty of air. I believe we posted a video on the Instagram seeing if it passed the paper towel test, and I guess we can try it with some plastic here and see if it'll stick. Oh yeah, no problem. Stick straight to it. And that's with the fans pretty much at whisper silent currently. We did end up, you can see inside the case here. You should be able to see inside the case here. We did end up putting in those EzDiyFab RGB strips there. We have one kind of tucked in on the side here, kind of running up past the fan, if you can kind of see in there. And then we ran the other one alongside the motherboard tray. So we got it running at the top and then kind of going down. They weren't too hard to work with. They are a little harder to stick than you think with just the double-sided tape. Shut up, phone. With just the double-sided tape. They come with some 3M adhesive that sticks in the back of little clips that help install. You can kind of see the white clip at the top of this one here. But overall, not too hard to install. I think they look pretty good. Like I said, I think Vantex has a similar kit to this. I think they're neons. But like I said, overall, really enjoyed this build. You guys have to comment what you think about it down below. But like I said, overall, I think it's really solid. We end up going with the, like I said, the MF120GT fans, doing a push-pull here in the front. Like I said, again, you guys let me know what you think down below. Like I said, we think they came out really solid. Step back around here, you guys can see the front. Like I said, just had to wait on that power supply, swap that out. Like I said, we ended up fitting it in there just fine. Like I said, just the 1250 watt unit we had previously was a little too big to fit without having to remove that hard drive tray in some fashion. We didn't really feel like destroying the case just to do that. But overall, really solid CL500 here from Deepcool. I really enjoy the airflow. I think the looks too may not be for everyone, but like I said, I really enjoy this case. I think it's, to me, if the term professional fits, I don't know, it just seems like it'd be a workhorse case. You know, because it's not too small, you can fit some pretty good size hardware in here, and airflow on it is awesome. Like I said, with this mesh front panel, definitely, like I said, time will tell on this one. Like I said, I don't know if we'll leave this one set up long enough to see. We might end up changing this into a workstation build down the line, you know, just for editing and stuff like that, or maybe even doing some gaming on when we're not doing all of that. But yeah, so time will tell on how well this front mesh panel works as far as blocking kind of dust coming through. So like I said, we'll definitely have to kind of give it some time to see. Like I said, I don't know if you guys know this, but most of our builds don't stay together that long. Yeah, I know. But like I said, most of them, you know, we kind of put on for just for show mainly. But we still run our full gamut of testing on it. With the AO and the current configuration being push-pull, we were getting anywhere from like 30 to 32 idle with this 3600X, and that's actually doing an all-core overclock up around 4.4, 4.5 all-core. Like I said, then we tried even pushing it past that. We ran some up around 4.6 as well, just to stretch the limit of this, but it didn't have any issues keeping up. I think the hottest we got under load was like 64C, and then even with, you know, having to pull through the radiator here on both sides, you know, our card actually never got that hot either. We ran, I believe we did some superposition through this, and the hottest we got the card was about around the same. We got it hit about 63 to 65 C tops. I mean, that's after letting it cycle for at least 30 minutes. So I mean, that was pretty much as hot as the case was gonna get. Like I said, really enjoying the DeepCool Castle 360EX RGB, like we touched on in the beginning. Like I said, it already comes with their MF120GT fans, and there's no bad look for these fans, because I mean, either you have the full X pattern there on the front, but the way these are set up, it actually shines through the back too. So I mean, there's no really bad looking spot on the fan at all. You see that with some RGB fans that don't have, or only have a ring near the front for RGB. So if you have to mount it in the opposite position, you kind of miss half the RGB effect. And that's what we liked about these so much, is you actually do get solid RGB on both sides. So I think that about wraps it up. Appreciate you guys for stopping in, being patient with us here as we recovered from the storm. So hopefully we'll get back up and running here to our normal schedule, posting more frequently, both here and on the Instagram. Again, check us out over on Instagram on Desktopsgaming. So again, appreciate you guys. Drop a like if you liked everything. Take it easy.